Hey guys, this is it. This is the 365 episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast, and this is the day. So let's hear it,
Today.
Chris.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can't. I honestly, I cannot believe that we are at 300. This is our 365th episode that we've done of this
Yeah, this is
show.
the first time I have felt something. I kind of felt sad.
Yeah.
I say,
Well,
I
join the club.
I was trying to, I guess, drag it on for a little longer, but eventually I'm gonna have to hit 365.
Hey, this is if it makes you feel any better. When I was writing this particular reflection, I actually started with the beginning of it. I was like just uncontrollably sobbing for like 5 minutes. I mean, it was I don't know. I didn't even remember it until I read the reflection.
Mm.
That feeling. But yeah, there was. It's this is a culmination of 3+ years of or no, two and a half years or so. I think what are we at? Yeah,
Talk
like two
about,
two two and a half
yeah.
years. Like of a lot of fun and conversations and living for two and bringing your values to life and all the things that we care about, that matter to us. And yeah, I mean, it is kind of overwhelming, like not overwhelming. It is kind of awesome. It's just awesome. I mean, honestly, it's
Mhm.
a really cool feeling. The good news is we're not going to spoil this for anybody, but the good news is, we the marathon turned into an ultra marathon, so we'll be right back at it
Yes. I
tomorrow.
mean, that's the thing is you
Yeah,
said that we will have more to go, and even knowing that, for whatever reason, feel like kind of sad to end a chapter.
it does. Yeah, I agree. This is what I said. Like this when I was writing this reflection, I was like, it just feels like the end of an it feels like the end of an era of a project, and it
Hmm.
was like, I mean, this is like the books no longer are this isn't like a story anymore, like the new reflections. They're just reflections about life and things that are going
Hmm.
on and what we're learning. But it's not. This has been like a story arc, for the whole entire thing.
Right.
It's like the story ends today, at 365, and then a new story starts tomorrow. But still, it is over. So let's without further ado, let's get into this because this is a long one and it's gonna take a while. So I gotta share all this with you guys. So
Okay.
all right. So the final book is it's called I Can't Imagine. It's a powerful story of love, loss, and finding purpose after losing a child by my daughter and myself. And this book, for anybody that's been following along with this journey, there was never a book that was chosen on purpose throughout this entire journey. It was always just, oh, what do we want to read next? Because we're living for two, right? We're just following our values, and whatever sounded interesting to learn, we would learn and pick it up and keep reading and figure out where it went next. Some of them were great, some of them were shitty, some of them were in between. Like, there really was no rhyme or reason as to the books that we were picking necessarily. Sometimes there was some leading indicators, or lagging indicators of what was top of mind that we cared about. But at the end of the day, like, most of the books throughout this whole journey has just been kind of all over the place, right? So that said, though, there was one book that I always knew after we did that first initial 30-day period of time, when I did my monthly challenge for writing a reflection, each day, and just seeing if it would work, just because we had an idea and figured, hey, let's try it, see if we enjoy it, right? Well, we after we finished that book, or after we finished that first initial segment of it, and made the commitment to keep writing, and maybe try to do this whole Yomo 365 marathon kind of thing. Um, uh, I got an idea in my mind is like, hey, if we ever hit 365 and the last reflection, I was like, I know what book it's going to be. It's a book that not only did we read, we read this book probably. I can't even tell you how many times we read it. I don't know. I mean, seven, 10. I don't. I really don't know how many times I've read this book. If you will, just through proofreading and writing and whatever else, different variations of it. But this is a book that we lived, right? This is our life. This is what kicked off. This was what started this whole journey, and I felt like it was only appropriate to end the journey on this particular book as well. So that's why I chose I Can't Imagine. And this is this is a book about Amelia's life, right? And it's a book about how she changed my life, and it's a book about really how we got to today. It's the origin stories, right? So this is how I met True. This is how we've been doing whatever we've been doing along the way. So that's why this book is the last book. But I had there's more to this story as to the reflection here and how this all works. So the reflection title this is I Can't Imagine. And I'll explain why, right? So I didn't allow myself to think about the finish line, this 365, this milestone, I guess, if you will, what you and I are doing today and what I was writing on this journey. I didn't really think about it at all. I tried to not think about it at all, ever, when I was writing. And I didn't really for the most part. But when I hit like 300 books and 300 reflections, something triggered in my brain, and I was like, oh shit, it was just that number, that milestone. Like, we're kind of in the ballpark of finishing this thing, right? And I was something, and I mean, you saw what happened to me. I started to break down a little bit of like, I hit my bonk, like we talked about, and it felt like things were a little bit like trying to be forced to try to keep pushing and pushing. But there was a point in time, this was about December of 2022 and slash early January of 2023, that I hit that 300 book mark, or the 300 reflection mark. And for whatever weird reason, I allowed myself to project myself into the future of Amelia and I crossing this tape, finishing this journey. And I was like, when would that actually be? And I like started to do some, digging of how many books that we were kind of, churning through each month, how many different reflections we were doing on average, yada, yada, yada. And started to look at the calendar, and I was like, well, if we keep up with the same pace, there was this one date that was staring square right at us on the calendar that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I was like, I cannot believe this is like, if that's the case, if this is really where this is going. I didn't plan this. I wasn't trying to plan it. And I was like looking at this calendar, and it was like April 22nd, 2023, which if anybody knows anything about my life and this journey, that was April 22nd of 2020 was when my daughter passed away. That was the last day that Amelia, was with us on this planet. And I don't know, I saw that number and or I saw that date as I was looking out into the future, and I was like, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was like, whatever, I guess the universe is, picking that date for a reason. And I was like, I don't know, whatever, it is what it is, right? So it kept going. As we got closer and closer to that date, I got into the month of April, and it still looked like I would be able to finish it by that point in time. And honestly, like, hit that final finishing kick, I guess, if you will, like that anybody hits on a long run, and you kind of start to feel the finish line. And we did in the month of April. And I think if you look at like my Audible account, like there was like a spike that was higher than any that I'd never read more or listened to more on that in that particular month than I think I had ever done in my entire time that I've ever been, doing this kind of stuff, with Amelia and I every single day, and looking at the statistics, I guess, if you will. So we had our finishing kick, and we were, as we entered into the week of August or of April 22nd, I still thought it was close, but we're gonna be able to do it. I think this is gonna be the last day that we're gonna cross this tape, and lo and behold, we get to April 22nd, and it was a Saturday, and I still had I was still finishing the last book. So we didn't make it. Honestly, it's kind of devastated. I kind of felt like I left my daughter down a little bit, because I was like, that date was the proverbial big fu to the world that tried to separate us 3 years before, and like, we'll show you kind of thing. It was what I was thinking, but of course, the universe always works in mysterious ways, and it wasn't meant to be. But I thought I let my daughter down, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought like that was what I had in my mind, and that was what we were working toward, and we didn't do it, and I felt really bad, honestly. Well, I turns out I learned my lesson on April 22nd. Here's the story behind that. So on April 22nd, this was a Saturday, and between October and May in Indianapolis, almost every Saturday, I play in this tennis league called the Industrial League here in Indianapolis. And what the Industrial League is, I think I've told you about this before, right? Have I told you how it works or not?
I think you did, but I forgot.
Okay, all right. I'm just gonna give a recap anyway, just for everybody, but I just didn't know if I'd ever explained it to you.
I think
So
so.
So what Industrial League is, I think there's like 8 or 10 teams. I think it's like 10 teams. And each team has there's 6 courts in this indoor facility called West Indy Racket Club. And
Mhm.
each week all the different teams are paired up with each other, and this team plays this team and this team plays this team. So you fill out all 6 of the courts. You have 3 singles courts and 3 doubles courts, so it's split evenly. You have different skill levels on each court. So you have like your 1 singles, your 2 singles, your 3 singles, your 1 doubles, 2 doubles, 3 doubles. And all those are skill level based, basically courts. And you try to match up your best opponents based off of that court against your other team, and then you play. And it's a timed match, so it's not like a normal match. Normal matches you play best out of 3 sets. This is a timed match, meaning it's you just play for an hour and a half. The horn starts at 9 a.m. until 10:30, and then the next session starts from 10:30 to noon, and the next session starts from noon to 1:30, right? So this is what happens every single day. The teams just rotate in, as soon as the horn, literally they come out and they blow a horn. It's like, like match over, right? Whoever has the most games won on each
Right.
court wins their court, right? And then you add up all the points and yada yada yada. Well, so we play each week for like 6 months almost, every Saturday, and we add up all these things, and then we play a postseason tournament where each team gets seeded and ranked, and then we have like a postseason tournament to determine who's the Industrial League champion at the end of the day. So April 22nd, is a Saturday. And normally I would say if this was just a normal Saturday, this date always sucks. Like this is the worst date, I don't know. I can't imagine a worse date, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And if this was any other Saturday, I would have been like, I don't want to play. Like I just, I don't know why. I just would have probably been like, it's probably feels inappropriate to play. But this particular Saturday was not just any Saturday for Industrial League. It was our championship match. We were the 1 seed, and we were playing our arch rival for the championship that day, and my team needed me. I'm one of our better players, and I didn't want to miss it, so I made sure I came. So the match started at noon. We get there, we're all pumped up. My team's really excited. We're all like, all right, like we're all just like really pumped up for this. Like we're gonna fucking win this year, because it had been I think my team has never actually won in like the 30 plus years that this thing has been going on.
Wow.
But we've come close many times to like winning the championship, but like just never could get over the hump kind of thing. And this year
It's
we
like
were the
San
number 1 seed.
Francisco.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Well, except for they were like a 5-time Super Bowl champion. It's San Francisco of late, yes.
Oh, the Buffalo Bills.
Or yes, Buffalo Bills is more like it. Yeah, because we always have a really good team, but we're never like, we could just never get over the hump. It seems like. So this year we were like, we're gonna do this. We have a stacked roster. We're like,
Mhm.
like we're gonna do this. So we all get out on the courts, we play our matches, and I win my court, which is great. I play singles, right? I win my court,
Mhm.
and I'm like, yeah, feeling good, and then I start to ask my buddies as the final horn blows, going to talk to my teammates. I'm like, how'd you do? How'd you do? How'd you do? We're all excited. We're all talking. We're going blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah blah. So the 2 team captains get together. The 2 teams all get back together in the middle of the courts, and we're all anxiously awaiting who won. Because this is the
Right.
championship, right? And the 2 team captains are adding up the scores in the courts, and they're like, everyone, we got a tie. We tied 6-6, over the overall match scores. And everybody goes, okay, what's the tiebreaker? And they go, well, the tiebreaker is whoever won the most game scores on each course. So they add up. So then the 2 captains go away for like 2 or 3 minutes, and they're adding up each individual game scores that happen on each court. And they're tallying it up. They're tallying it up, and everybody's like just nervously talking and pacing around, and we're all trying to figure out who's going to win or not. And the 2 captains come back out, and they go, you're not going to believe this, but we tied on the game score as well, 58-58. And everybody was like, are you fucking kidding me? We're all going like, what? Okay, what's the second tiebreaker? And they're like, we don't know. Hang on a second. So they get out the rule book of Industrial League. They're looking through it, and they go, okay, all right, this is what it says. I guess this is our second tiebreaker, and it is what do you think it is?
A tiebreaker? I don't know.
It was a fucking coin flip, literally. Like it was flip a
I would have
coin.
never guessed that.
Right. I wouldn't. We're all going. Are you kidding
What?
me? Like like a coin flip. I'm sitting there at this point in time, just like almost like cracking up. I'm like, this is hilarious. Like, this, I mean, this obviously doesn't mean anything, but it means stuff to a lot of people, right? Like
Mhm.
it's a lot of work and time, and it's our teams, and we're trying to win, and we're all passionate about tennis, and whatever, right? And so they flip a coin, and my team lost. So so we lost the Industrial League Championship by a coin flip, right? So this is when it gets really weird. As soon as the coin flip happens and we find out that we lost, one of the people on my team said, "Hey, I did not even think about it when I recorded the score, but I'm pretty sure that our score is wrong." They're like, "We know that we won the court, but I think our game scores were wrong." Like, so like then everybody gets into like this, then it gets like the all hell breaks loose at this point in time. So people start screaming at each other, and they're like, you can't fucking say that now. Like, you can't just come in here and like, this is what you reported. And they're like, wait, let's go back. We'll look through every single game, we'll look it up. And then they're like, that's it. No, we were right. Like, we missed one of the games. It was actually, I don't know, 11-9, not 11-10 or something like that, in the games. And then like literally, and no joke, people start like just storming off the court, like throwing bags everywhere or whatever. Like about 6 people about started to get into almost a fist fight, and like the rhetoric just heated up even more, and people were yelling at each other, and and it's getting out of control, to be honest with you. And I'm literally just standing there going, I can't fucking believe what I'm watching, like, unfold in front of me, right? I'm kind of like laughing and myself, and and I was like, it is what it is. I grabbed my stuff and I was like, hey, say goodbye to my teammates. And I was like, good season. It was fun. Like, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Have a good rest of your day. So I get in my car. I'm like, I'm bummed, but whatever. This day really doesn't really, it's a way worse day than just losing a tennis match. Who cares? It's not a big deal. Like, who gives a shit? But I thought, this is something we talked about. This was a lesson one of the day, right? Was who cares about outcomes? It's almost like the universe was giving me like the ultimate, a coin flip, right? Like, is how you determine an outcome. Like, this meant so much to so many people, trying to win this championship, and like literally it's a coin flip. Like, talk about how meaningless outcomes are in this life. You know what I mean? It really, what was fun was, it was a blast for 6 months being able to go play tennis every Saturday morning for an hour and a half, have a good time, be around your friends, your tennis buddies, stuff like that, all try to help cheer each other on, get better. Like that's the fun, right? The outcomes are irrelevant. Who cares? Did I want to win a championship for Amelia, and come out on top for my team and all that other stuff? Like, yeah, of course. But like, really, it's so irrelevant that we can literally determine the champion by a coin flip, right? It's outcomes don't matter, right? So that was lesson number one. So
Mhm.
I then leave the courts, and I'm driving back home, and for whatever weird reason, I I just decided I wanted to go visit with Amelia. She's the courts are a little bit north of downtown Indy. She's a little bit south of downtown Indianapolis.
Mhm.
I have to drive through like the city area to get there, and I was like, and I'm just gonna get off on the exit, and I'll just keep going to see her, just because I just felt compelled to go see her at that time. I usually go visit her every Sunday. This is a Saturday, but it was just it's a weird day, right?
Right.
It's a day that I knew I was gonna go visit her at some point, just but I was like, I'm already out. Like, Felicia's got Luca right now, so I was like, I'm gonna go visit, right? So I'm driving down there, and one of my best friends calls me. I hadn't talked to him in a really long time. He was my best man at my wedding, right? I was the best man at his wedding. He lives up in Chicago. His name's Chris as well. I've told you about him. He's the guy that's
Right.
like super responsible, great guy, right? So he calls me, and he goes, hey, just FYI, we're Rachel, his wife Rachel, and I, and his kids, Anna and Ben. They're like, we're in town for Ben has a soccer tournament, down in Indianapolis, for the for
Mhm.
the for the evening. He lives up in the Chicago area, and they driven down. And he was like, hey, I don't have a ton of time, like, throughout the course of the day, because I know we're gonna be just jam packed with soccer crap and whatever. But he was like, we're gonna try to take the kids to Top Golf like in the afternoon with a couple of the other soccer family, whatever people. And he's like, I'd love for you to come hang out, have fun. Like, it's been a while since we've been able to hang out. And I was like, you know what? That sounds great, man. I haven't talked to you in forever. And then that was lesson two, was a reminder. I was like, this is April 22nd. It's a day that I'm supposed to be really sad and, you know, depressed and, whatever. But I was like, one of the values is don't do it alone, right? And then, like, I love my friends, I mean, he's a great guy. He's somebody that I don't want to not be able to go, what am I going to do? Sit at home and mope around and cry all day long? Or should I just, go live my life and go try to bring our values out, and continue to do that stuff. And I was like, of course. So I guess I'll go to Topgolf on Amelia on a day that, Amelia passed away 3 years ago, right? And that blows my mind even thinking about that. And then I continued on. I was literally at the end, in front of her gravestone, finishing up this conversation with Chris, and I get out of the car, and my mom pulls up at the exact same time. And as I'm literally getting out of the car, my mom is like pulling up right in front of me, right in front of Amelia's gravestone. She gets out of the car. She has flowers. She just wanted to spend time with her granddaughter, and she, comes over to me and just, hugs me and starts to cry and tear up a little bit. And I was like, it's okay, Mom. Like, it really is. Like, I don't feel bad right now. Like, I don't. This isn't this. I felt bad 3 years ago. I felt horrible 2 years ago. I felt pretty bad the year before this, but it's okay. Amelia and I have figured out a way to live our life and be happy again. And this is what I'm thinking in my own head, right? I'm like, it's really okay. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I ended up telling her about the story about the Industrial League thing that had just happened, and she was laughing about it, and I had spent some good quality time with my mom and Amelia, just, kind of joking around. We weren't like unhappy or sad or whatever. And I felt good. I was going to say, dare I say in this, I wrote in this reflection, I was like, dare I say I felt good. And if at least not good, I felt normal, like I didn't feel like it was like my life was still turned upside down and devastated, So that was lesson number 2 for the day, right? And lesson number 3 was as I was driving away from the cemetery. That was when I kind of the final reflection kind of hit me. 3 years before that exact date, I had lost my imagination 100%. Like, nothing mattered anymore. Atomic blast, gone, right? 3 years later, here I am, joking around with friends, going to Topgolf, playing, an Industrial League championship match, like, not worrying about outcomes, being able to spend quality time with my daughter, found a way to reconnect with her, bringing our values to life. That was what this has always been about. This is what this whole journey has been all about, right? This is what Yomo is about. This is what you and I have always done. This is what every single thing that we've talked about, Clubany, the Indianapolis Pickleball Club now, the books, whatever else, like the things that you and I wanted to do. This has always been about refining your imagination, figuring out ways to bring your values to life, and to live a fulfilling, purpose-driven life, like one that's an enjoyable life, one where you can imagine, a future and enjoy every minute of every day that you're doing this stuff, right? And it just kind of, was such a clear juxtaposition, I guess, if you will. I think that might be the wrong word, but of going 3 years ago, I couldn't imagine anything. Now I'm just full of, my imagination is completely filled, and I imagine new stuff with Amelia every single day, and we're just having a blast living for two. And I know that this is lesson number 4 for the day, which is, this is all a pretty boring story. This is a pretty normal day, right? Like, this is what we do every single day. And like, this goes back to the perfect day is ordinary that we learned at the very beginning of this whole entire journey with, Tuesdays with Maury. This was a normal day for me. Like, this is what Amelia and I have done every single day. There was no variation. I didn't need to get too high or too low. I didn't need to be super sad or crying everywhere. We just had fun living life and enjoying time with each other and figuring out ways that we can reconnect with each other. And that's what this is. That's it. Like, right. Like, I mean, like, at the end of the day, this is our life. This is ordinary every single day. There's nothing super special. There's no crazy bolt of lightning, lesson that I can give everybody. It's just live your values, bring them to life, and good things. I don't even care. Not even good things. Stuff will happen, and you'll enjoy life. It'll be a fun time. And that's about it. So anyway, love to pause there and love to get your thoughts.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it is, we as a individual, we forget what it is to have a good life. And a lot of times it takes somebody so courageous to remind us of that. And, it eternally remind you of yours. And for me, it's, a lot of times I've been conditioned to kind of go and like listens to people say, you gotta do this, you gotta make a dent in the universe, you gotta, do all these things, right? And for whatever reason, we buy into that narratives. And that is the thing that we continue to try to catch every single day. But that is exactly what we don't want. That's the kind of imagination that we don't want. That's the kind of imagination that it gets to the point where we get to the end of our life and we say, well, I have wasted my life chasing something that doesn't matter to
Didn't
me,
matter. It didn't. It
right?
never mattered. Yeah. Like
And so this is why we're saying is a lot of time you and I get to the point where we say, we kind of like feel like we're blessed to be waking up by some externality.
right.
Because for me, like I told you, without somebody waking you up, you can't really wake up yourself. Right. And if that would happen to us, we would never have had the I guess the the kind of you realize that your life is in the wrong directions.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're saying about the normal day, like the days that you say, well, I'm just going to play some tennis with somebody, lost by a coin toss,
Right.
go go visit my daughter, see my mom there, my friends call me. To you and to everybody else, that is a boring day, but to
Yeah.
you, it is the best days
It
because
is.
that's the day is aligned to who you are as that person. That's what
Right.
I'm saying is a be with my stem. You have to be who you are. You have to be who you need to be. You can't really try to be someone else.
Right.
And that's the thing is, people get to the point where they are so conditioned by society that eventually it goes into this slumber of imagination, but it's a wrong imaginations. And eventually they get to the point where they can't even imagine anymore what it is that they want to do. And a lot of people think about their lives and they feel bitter. They say,
Right.
I have to do this, I have to do that. My life is, it sucks, it's not worth anything. I struggle so much. But that's what I'm saying to you is, 95% of all our misery comes from our minds because
From ourselves. Yeah. Right.
we create
Right.
that ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I think, I guess the important part is like, you've laid out like 4 different lessons, but those lessons are so important, but it is so easy to overlook.
It is.
When
I
you
mean,
think about the first one, right? Where you say, well, outcome doesn't matter because you think about it, the universe is telling you that, very simplistically that anything can be, decided by a random coin
right.
toss.
Right. Like
That means
total
that,
total bullshit. Like
but I'm saying is that is to make it to oversimplify
right.
what we see in real life. Because in real life, what that we would do, we arbitrarily
Try to control it.
decide, we arbitrarily decide that, hey, you can't cross the road. You
Right.
arbitrarily decide that, hey, if we should make $1 million in a company, we don't make it, it's a failure. We
Right.
decided, hey, 365 is some marker. We decided 22.6 mile is whatever, right?
Right.
And you decide to be on this marathon and you decide to pressure yourself. That's what
Yep.
I'm saying is the outcome is
Who
arbitrary, but
cares?
the
Yeah.
universe is teaching you that lesson succinctly about the outcome isn't what you're looking for, but
Right.
it's like you say, you imagine the story you just told me, like, people are up in arms about this outcome, right?
Right.
People are thrown to
Oh,
some away.
they were pissed.
They
What
were,
our dude, my team captain got so mad. He's like the nicest guy in the world. His name's Adam, and he's
uh-huh.
like seriously like the nicest guy. He got so mad that I don't think I've ever seen the guy angry ever in my entire life of, no, I've probably known him for about almost like a decade now. I don't think I've ever even seen him like say it, even utter a a negative comment, like even let alone like just be a bad person. He got so angry. I remember this email he sent us all to our team afterwards, and he was like, I just don't think I can be the team captain anymore. He's been the team captain for it's like 15 years or something like that. And he was like, I don't think I have it in me anymore. He's like, that one hurt really bad, and he was like, and I feel like feel like I acted like a total jerk. I don't even know what he said. I don't even think he did anything. I mean, I don't remember anything that he did, but I think to himself, he was like, he was so offended by himself, like being
Right.
not, himself, right? That he was like, I don't think that I can carry on as the captain. And we're all like immediately like replying like, dude, you are the best captain ever. Like, stop it. Like, it's like I don't want to play on a team where you're not the captain kind of thing. And anyway, like it was to that level where he like felt so, it hurt him so much of what occurred, and how he
Mhm.
felt like we were screwed, and how he behaved, and that he was just, I mean, but to your point, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, like it
Well, but that's
eventually.
the thing is, I think that a lot of these, a lot of your teammates and even whoever is playing that, they're missing the point
Right.
because we're talking about the not missing the point, meaning okay, what's more important to you, whether you have a good time with your friends, getting together, playing together, and
Right.
kind of enjoy the moment of whatever moment that you had before, or the winning, right? Because you think about it, if I were to give you the options of, hey, you can have the experience or you can have the outcome. You can have both. You have one or the
Right.
other. Which one would you choose? Because one is like you suddenly wake up, oh,
Yes.
you
I mean,
won,
of course. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Or the
okay.
other one is you had fun with your friends doing whatever that
Stuff you like
suits
to
you.
do. Yeah. Like,
That's what I'm saying is people missing the point and saying, hey,
yeah.
and get to the point, get to the lessons where the universe is telling you, right? It's giving you a lesson. Hey, this other guy won, or you guys lost by a coin toss. That
Right.
is very, very simplistic lessons for you to learn, because that in itself is like the single simple way for the universe to tell you many other complexity that you've seen in the world in your life, just the same way is people made up
Right.
whatever they want to make up, and
Yep.
certainly that's the rules, that's the law, that's the dogma, whatever. Like, hey, you shall, you know, do 10 push-up before you to go pee or something. I mean,
Right.
if
Right.
somebody can make up any kind of a rule,
Right.
right? Arbitrary make it. That's what we do. That's what, as human beings,
Yep.
we do that to ourselves.
Yep.
This is the reason why
I did
95%
I did it to myself in this journey. That's when I got
of
so
course.
exhausted around like 300, where I'm like, you're like, what are you exhausted about? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just so tired of writing every day about, like I'm thinking about, I just got to get to 365. And you're like, who cares? And I'm like, I don't know. I care, I guess. I don't know why I
Yeah.
cared. Like,
Then I asked you, why do you care? I said, I don't know. Well,
like
why
that's
do
the thing.
if you don't know why you care?
I never not had fun doing it. It was just like I there got to be a point in time where I felt like I was pressing on how fast I read, what kinds of books that I read, because I no joke, like I used to pick, after a really long book, I would go look and go, I think I'm gonna have a couple short books if I'm gonna be able to hit my quota.
Yes, yes.
Like, I mean, serious. This is no
I
joke.
think
I would
I
go. I
think
would
your
go look for.
conditions to go through those goal settings framework, because the thing is, we as we grow, when we were born, we don't have that until
No.
somebody beat it into our heads and make us say, hey, set your agenda. Hey, what's your
Right.
goal? What do you want to be when you grow up? Blah 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 blah, right? And we don't get to imagine for ourselves what it is that we want to do, what it is that
Right.
we have to do. We're always being given, hey, you should do this, you should do that. A lot of
Yep.
nudging, a lot of narratives is kind of like pushing us along and giving us a directions and the life and how to do, how to behave, how
Right.
to,
Keep embracing the suck. Keep,
yeah, but
doing the
embracing
things
the
you hate the
suck,
most
eating
first,
the frogs and all
eating the
that, and
frog.
that's
Yeah.
and that's to me, it's where we start to lose our imaginations. That's where
Right.
we start to get to the point where regardless
It
of
becomes
what
work and
happened.
not play. It becomes work and not play is what it is. Like, we've talked about these two words, of like, what's the difference between work and play? Well, play is just work that you like to do, and work is work you don't like to do. I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know
the
how
thing
else
is
you can explain it.
they're both activities to
Yes,
me, and
they're both
one is
working.
activities I want, and the other one is activities I don't want.
Right.
And
And you can
I,
turn activities you want into activities you don't want by doing stupid shit like I was doing, where I was forcing myself, with arbitrary quotas and goals and forcing myself to write reflections sometimes on books where I'm like, true, God, that was the worst book ever, but I'm gonna go write my reflection.
but then,
like it's
when the reflection turns into this dry kind of like, what are you saying?
nothing.
I
I'm
don't,
forcing
I
it.
don't, I don't
I was
understand
forcing it out
what
of
kind of
me.
lessons you're trying to, you're trying
I
to
was
put
just
forth.
forcing to extract out a lesson out of a book that I didn't even like to be able to continue on to
That's
hit
what
a
I'm saying.
quarter.
Is you're missing
Yeah,
the point. Is
I
the
was. Yeah,
reflection is what are you learning? It's not about, hey, you have to have something to talk about, some kind of
exactly.
lesson you want to in, instill into the people's mind. I mean that's where we start turning back into our old
Yeah,
conditioned person. And
yeah,
this is where it becomes dangerous. Is because
yeah.
we lost our ways, right?
Agreed.
We lost our ways in trying, because like I said, you like to write, you like to learn, you like to do these activities with your daughter, but eventually you get to the point where the conditioning you have in your life starts to take over, it starts to kind
Yeah,
of blend in, and you got diverted, and you kind of like lost track, and you went into that rabbit hole,
yep.
and
We all do it. I mean, and it's
but
okay. I mean, but yeah,
we
but at
all
least
do
we
it.
can
But
recognize it now.
my point is that most people don't recognize.
Right.
It's just like the movie Inception. You don't know you're in a dream.
Right.
Like, how do you know your dream isn't real? So if you don't have a token to wake yourself up, how can you wake yourself up? This is the point. This is what I'm trying to make is,
Yep. Yep.
you cannot wake yourself up. I cannot wake myself up. Some externality has to wake us up. And like I say, I feel a little bit blessed in a way that I was woken up before, I'm 70 years old or 80 years old or 100 years old. And say, well, I don't have no more time left, but I went on the wrong bus. Now I'm in a place where I want to be.
Right. A
Right. And
desirable
then
disadvantage, as Malcolm Gladwell might call it.
I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, um, different narratives that can lead us astray. And
Right.
I think that's important. And I'm not saying it's easy to kind of get off the bus, so to speak, but it's something you're gonna have to try,
Yeah.
because if you don't try, you won't get out the bus.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's this whole journey was and still is. It's filled with like all these great lessons and conversations and I mean, like I can't. It's really hard for me to even believe that we're because we don't. It's not like we just forgot about reflection one. Like it's when you want something, the whole world conspires to make it happen. It's not that we just forgot about reflection. Six with Tuesdays with Moria, the perfect day is ordinary. It's not like we forgot about our memory palace with moonwalking with Einstein. Like I don't know if you think about this ever, but like this we've learned so much and we've applied so many things to our life, and every conversation we've had has
I
just
mean,
built and
to
built and built and
me,
built and built.
without
It's
this
unbelievable.
journey, we would not be as mindful as we have as before. Because, like I
No,
say, you and I would get into this trance, into this rabbit hole, and we didn't know we were on a rabbit
yeah,
hole.
for
But
sure.
now, because we are more, we have more of a mental fortitude, we are able to catch ourselves more often, and quicker. We
Yes,
realize it quicker than before. But
when
before,
we're off track.
I'm on this, off track,
Right.
and I'm still thinking I'm on track, right? I'm like fooling myself and thinking I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
And that's even after we have been woken up. We are also prone to stumble back into that rut, that dreams, right? That
Hmm.
dream state. And so having this journey, having this lesson, like I said, my lesson, like you just, the universe conspire to help you, get what you want. You're talking about talking about the Mexican fisherman, like talking about your treasure in your backyard, right? And
Right.
just I mean, to me, these are on top of my mind all the time. I
Yep.
don't run for trains, right? For example, I don't run for train. That's something that I have pretty good, have a good handle on it.
Yep.
Meaning it doesn't matter what happened, because I know now that outcome does not matter, because if I will give you a choice, have the experience or have the outcome with what you want, right? Because let's
Of
say,
course.
hey, Chris, okay, you have $1 million, but you don't have the experience to spend $1 million. What would
What's
it matter if you have $1 million? So the
no.
point is, the
No.
outcome does not matter, and we have proven that, and the universe have simplified that in this 365 reflection. Lesson number one is that 99% of all the things that we have put goals and whatever in, it doesn't matter. It is
Worthless.
what it is what you experience. It is your
It is.
memory. It is what
Yep.
your moments that
Yep.
you kind of like experience, Matt. Like I said, I could be on the beach, but if I'm angry at somebody, or I'm thinking about work, whatever, my body is at the beach, but my mind isn't. So there's no memory of the beach. There's no memory
Right.
of fun. There's no memory of a beautiful sunset. There's no memory of the beautiful sea breeze.
Yep.
So if you think about it, everything is, like I said, it's hard to understand a lot of the saying. And we're talking about, it's not a destiny, it's a journey, right?
Right.
It sounds good, but do you know what it means?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the thing
Yeah.
is,
No, I mean, it's about being in the present moment. It's about enjoying what you're doing. Like I wanted to
but that
like
my point in saying that is, you and I know that now.
but
We
it's
know
so
what it
hard. I
means
mean, like
now,
but it's
but
still not easy.
I've heard it so many times throughout my life. It sounds good, but like the meaning of it, I don't know. I can't fathom the meaning behind
Right.
it. They on the surface, the meaning of the word, yeah, but that's not. It's not what the real meaning. And
Well, it's
so
because
I
it's
have
a
never understood that until we have gone through this 365 journey. Just like we talk about the golden rule, right? The golden rule, like it's
right.
really for us. It's not actually a good rule,
Right.
right? But everybody say, hey, the golden rule, the golden rule, the golden rule, right? And everybody say, yeah, 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 I know golden rule. But you and I both know now the golden rule isn't that good of a rule. I mean, the
No,
silver rule trumps it, the platinum rule trumps it.
right.
But the golden rule is just basically a like a fool's goal,
Yep.
of you know, because it's not for you. It's actually for someone else to put on you.
Right.
It's like a golden handcuff. Huh?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It
Right?
is.
Oh,
It
it's so beautiful. But you're the one who's being cuffed.
right.
So someone else is cuffing you. And so that's the thing. And without having the journey, this journey is what gives us fortitude. This journey is what gives us um the compass of sort to
Mhm.
continue to wake up and to catch ourselves when we're in this completely off track, and kind of like as if you're being lured away
Right.
from the real you. And I think that's where this is important, is you have to be able
It's the
to.
most important thing. It's be yourself, understand yourself, be yourself, and then try to stay in the and like you're gonna get thrown off track. So well there's going to be things in your life that's going to try to throw you off track. Like your job
Well,
is
that's
to
the
try
thing,
to
is that there's only one right track for you, and there's a
right.
million wrong track for you. So just the probability of something gonna lure you off of your track, it is very, very
It's
likely.
it's all- it's
So
all-
it's
it's
about,
it's not it is like it is it will happen. Like I mean like it's
it
not
will happen.
yeah, right.
So it's a matter of, like you say, you have to know yourself first in order for you to determine whether or not you're on the right track. Because
Right.
there are markers on your track that it is for you only. And if you don't recognize those markers, you are off track. Even though it may look the same, and it may even be almost exactly the same, but it's not the same.
It's not.
Therefore, it's not your path, and you
Yeah.
go down that path, you're being lured away from your true self. And if you don't follow your true self, you cannot be happy. You cannot enjoy the moment of your life because this is someone else telling you to do something. And I
Agreed.
think that's where we are in a way blessed to have been woken up by, for you, your daughter, and in essence, she's mine as well, because you have
Mhm.
come into my life as well when you start to search for path and start to rebuild the from the rubbles, and you have reached out your hand, and I get to the point where I'm also being the kind of like um the the benefits the beneficiary of her, the your daughter being able to
Yeah.
kind of kind of give us a nudge in the direction that we need to go.
Well, hopefully she gives a lot of people a nudge. That'd be my dream world. Like,
Mm,
that is literally the most important thing that could ever happen in the rest of my life is if people understand Amelia's life and she is able to inspire them through her existence, because she is an inspiring person. I was just writing, I mean, I write to her, with her, and about her all the time.
mhm,
But like, um, today I was writing about this book called The Purple Cow, which I've been on like a serious business book kick the past like couple weeks, which makes sense because like I'm getting ready to launch this venture, and it's been fun actually. It's been a while since I've really gotten into business books because it's like I'm like, who cares? But like now like this is actually something that's beneficial, and I'm enjoying it and having a good time, and it's yada yada yada. Like Amelia and I are having fun, like getting creative again and doing all this other stuff. But this book that I was writing about today was called it's called The Purple Cow, and it's by Seth Godin, and he um this book's about being a purple cow, right? Like it stands out, right? It's something that's you have to be remarkable now in order to get the attention that you hope to get in the business, in the world of business, and that's what this book's about, is how to become a purple cow, right? And it's or better also said as how to be remarkable, right?
mhm, mhm.
And that word remarkable was like stuck in my head after I finished that book, and I was like, man, you want to talk about remarkable, like I mean, Amelia is the most remarkable human being that I've ever
Mhm.
come across in my entire life, and I probably will ever come across, and for the rest of my life. I mean, I would be. I don't know how you could be more remarkable than Amelia. Just what she's done, how she lived her life, and just the significance of her life, right? For at least for me, I mean, there will never be somebody more remarkable, in my life. I don't think.
I mean, it reminds you of why you're here. I mean,
It is.
are you
Yeah.
here? What are you here to do? Are you here to put a dead universe? Are you here to do what? What are you here to do? You are here, right? Like her, you are striving to exist. Okay. And
Right.
she is showing you what you're here to do. Most
Mhm.
people lost sight of that. But you mentioned the purple cow, right? And it's funny because everybody is trying to be like
To force
this.
remarkableness.
Well, what the thing is, the irony is that everybody is trying to stand out.
Mhm.
Okay. But the irony is that everybody is already stand out, right?
If they just be
Everybody
themselves.
is everybody is already unique.
Yep.
Okay. But for whatever reason, this is like the Mexican fisherman store all over again. Okay, so everybody, when you land on Earth, when you become you won the fucking lottery, right? And you got life on Earth.
1 in 400
Okay,
trillion.
right? For 1 in 400 trillion. And then you have this completely unique person. You are a fucking purple cow in the grandest,
Yeah.
right? Then you go and you say, well, I'm gonna fucking paint myself white because everybody is white. And then
Right.
when you go up, oh, I'm white. I want to be a purple cow. It's like, dude, you are a purple cow.
Right. Yeah. You already were. Yeah.
Why are you trying to become a commonplace thing
Right.
and then go and trying to be a purple cow? This is why the irony is just like Mexican fisherman again, right? A Mexican fisherman goes and goes out to sea in a couple of hours, come back with a few fish, sell a few, take a few back to his home, eat a few, go having siesta,
Right.
and then go walk down the promenade with his wife, and then go in the late evening, go have coffee with his buddies. You see this NBA hopper comes by, hey, why didn't you make more fish longer? Catch more fish. When you want more fish, you sell more. You buy more boats. You buy bigger fish nets. Buy more boat. And then you go and you incorporate and you make
Franchise, grow. Yeah,
franchise, and
yeah.
you go to New York City.
Right.
Build a corporate headquarters there and make $1 billion, and
Right.
then you retire and then go to a small village. When you go fish little, for a few hours, and go sell a few.
Hang out with your family, yeah.
You're talking about the purple cow, right? There's an
Right.
irony of it. You, all you have to do is stop painting yourself like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Stop
mean,
following everybody else. Do what you think you need to do.
yep.
Do what you have to do. That is who you're
That's how you
supposed to
become
be.
remarkable, like living your values
Exactly. We
and
talked
bringing
about
them to
world
life.
class before,
Right. Yeah.
right?
You
How
can
do
be
you become
world
world
class
class?
at being true, and I can be world class at being Chris.
The only way for you to be world
at being
class,
Chris,
it is to be yourself.
Exactly.
Right? And when you be yourself, you are already a purple cat. You are already remarkable.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
that's the irony, is that you get on Earth, or you win a lottery, and then certainly you buy on this white paint and you paint yourself the rest of everybody else. Oh, I want to fit in, blah, 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 blah. And then you get to the point where, oh, I want to be purple cow. And then you get to the cycle of it, and you say, well, I don't want to I want to be like everybody else. I want to all like this piece of shit over here. I
Right.
just want to be who I am. Like, who cares? Why do I want to be interesting to who?
Right.
Right? I
It's
just want to be who I want to be. I don't want to be, oh, this guy is impressing me. I don't need to impress no one. I
no.
just want to have a nice life, a good, happy life. And in order for me, that is I live for who I need to be versus being someone else. So you get onto this earth, you start painting yourself, you
No,
start to
actually,
want to.
I don't think that's what I was getting ready to say. I don't think you do. I actually think I think it's I mean, you've seen your girls are growing up, your teen, I think, are they all, how was your youngest?
Youngest is 12.
12. So your kids are all in their teens, early teens, 12, whatever. They're getting older. Do it when I bet you, what I'm about ready to say, I guarantee you're gonna probably this will resonate with you. Of your kids probably started off all as purple cows, and slowly but surely
Mm-hmm.
they become like everybody else, because that's the way that it works, right?
Yes,
Like
that is the system. That
that
is the
is the
system. That
system,
is the
right?
mold that you live in. It's a framework. And so
Right.
I have to slowly figure out how to, you know, make them
Recolor yourself,
unlearn,
right? Yeah,
make them
right,
unlearn all the things that I've learned, and then
right.
retrain them slowly.
I
And
mean,
that's the
all
thing is, it's
it's
we've
sucks.
been
That's
thrown
what we
into
do. Yeah,
this engine, right? This
right.
engines of society, and they shape you the way they want to shape you, and they make you believe they
Yep.
want what of you. I mean, some of my kids come back home and they say, well, I hate this Israel. They go and they just bomb a bunch of people in Gaza, right? These bad Israelites, they're bad. And,
Yeah.
then whoever sanctions they boycott Israel or whatever. It's like, do you know anything about what's going on? Who told you this?
Right.
They don't even know it, and just believe in whatever other people tells them. But that's
Yep.
the thing, is it's not their fault either, but they've been,
No, I
and
mean,
you and I don't know this either,
no,
right?
no, yeah.
And we grow up to believe in a certain thing, and some people would actually believe in the lies and would die for that lie. They
Right.
would, put their neck out for that lie because they truly believe in it. And that's the sad part, is that they never get to fully imagine for themselves what they could be.
It's 90% chimp, 10% bee, right? That's another lesson that we learned through this whole entire thing. I feel like you start off probably like 99% chimp, and
Mhm.
point, or probably 99.9% chimp, and like 0.01% bee. And then slowly that curve, starts to shift down to like the 90-10, and then all of a sudden it's like you're actually then down to like
You
50-50, and then you're like down to 40
you've been
60, and
trained
then
to be you've been trained to
you
be
train to be a
B.
B, right? Yeah, exactly. So like the best thing that you can do is to get your chimp back in, in the game, and figure out like you're a 90% chimp and 10% B. You still need to be a little bit of a B. Like, don't get me wrong, like
Mhm.
kids are too purple cowy, right? They're not going to survive in this world if you stay, like as Luca is right now, where he's like, I don't want it. I don't want to do this. I don't want that. I want to do this. I want to go do this. I like this. I like that. I like this. Like, eventually you got to go, bro, like, you can't do everything that you want to do at all times, right? Like, you can only do, 90% of what you want to do at all times, right? Like you gotta still be able to socially exist, because that is an important thing of being a human being. But like, it's 90% chimp, 10% B. It is not
Well,
30% chimp.
yeah, of course, there's always this kind of like optimal ratio, because there are certain, because I'm saying is, if you align yourself with somebody who is going to be have commonality with you, right? That is worth spending
Good.
the time.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
if you're spending time with people that is, kind of like opposite of you, right? That is not a good time spent. So you can't say, oh, you want to be everybody like 90% and have to be common with other
Yeah,
people. If you don't like, the kind of person that has this kind of core beliefs or core values, right? Then
you
it
don't like
doesn't
them.
jive with you. You should
Right.
not spend time. So
Right.
there's always that optimal ratio, because
Yeah.
that's where you would have the most of your moments, in where you say, well, my moment I spend, it's not it's not stressed. I'm not stressed because of this. I'm not
Right.
and you don't have anxiety because this and that and the other, right? And so that, to me, that's where you have to kind of define that ratio, because if you don't do that, you are completely going to be drawn into the narrative, whatever narrative that it happens to be, in that certain part of
Right.
time of that society. And I think, that's the that's a hard part for me, is I can't really take my kids out of society either, because like you have to put your kids in daycare, and in daycare they would teach him to be like to become more B, right?
More B. Yeah. I mean, like
Right? Because
every
hey,
every
everybody
day
do
when I
it.
walk in there,
Everybody
they
have a
just yell
nap.
at him.
Everybody have a cookie.
Yeah,
Everybody do
exactly.
this.
Like,
Everybody like get in line.
uh,
Everybody. So so you can't really operate by saying, hey, what they teach the my kids is wrong, and I can't just yank them out of
right.
the
Well, no, it's good. It's
society.
good because he is learning how to socialize, right? Like, and that's an important thing, right? If he was just,
But
a chimp
it's
all the
like,
time,
it's like I said, you give a gun to somebody, right? It depending on how you use it, it could be good, it could be bad. Because
right.
yes, you learn how to
it,
socialize,
it
but
it tips. There's a tipping point eventually where it's like, oh God, like, why are you studying? Why are you worried about getting a C in algebra? You don't like it, do you? No, I don't like it. Like, okay, then don't worry about it. Like, who cares? Like, but you're like, but I gotta get an A. Like, if I don't get an A, then I don't get into Harvard. And if I don't get into Harvard, then I can't have a job as a lawyer or whatever. And then I can't get a wife, and then I can't have a car and whatever. And it's like, no, just,
that's not how it works.
you don't like algebra. Like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Like, so people, not everybody likes algebra, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be and figure out where you're an A at and be spiky, right? The best people are
But
spiky.
that's
That
but
was a good
that's a,
lesson from
that's the thing though, Chris. You talking like that, but imagine you go and ask anyone who have a bad grades in algebra,
Oh, totally.
what did their parents say? And what are their, the people around them say? It's like, hey, you're not a very
This
smart
kid's a
person.
dipshit. This kid's a dipshit. Like, like so
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 no one is gonna tell you, it's okay. No one give a shit about whether or not you're good
dude.
in
So,
algebra.
so all right, like, fun algebra story. Just like, now that we're on that topic. So I think I don't remember exactly what I graduated my high school GPA with, but I think it was like a 3.7 or something like that out of like a 4.0 scale, right? It was a good GPA,
Good.
right? Like, I mean, there's nothing
Great
wrong with that.
GPA.
Yeah, but was I like top of the class? No, but was I like probably in the top 50 out of like 250 kids? Yeah, I mean, I was. Like, I mean, I'm not an idiot, right? Like, I would probably venture to say that I had the highest GPA in the entire school of somebody that did not get National Honor Society's nominations or whatever. Do you know what that is,
Mhm,
National Honor Society?
mhm,
Okay, so why did that happen?
mhm.
Um, Here's why that happened. I got a D in advanced algebra my freshman year for some dumbass reason. I always hated math, but I was like, well, I'm going to take all the advanced classes just because, I'm a smart guy. I'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. So I placed into that in my freshman year, and I'm not good at math. Number one, I found that out. I was like, we didn't learn any of this shit where I went to school, then to grade school, and now I'm like, what the fuck is this stuff? So not only did I learn that I wasn't even good at math, I also learned that I really have bad eyesight. So I was sitting in the back of the classroom and I was like fucking around all the time with friends and stuff like that, getting bad grades, but then I couldn't see the stupid projector. So I just eventually stopped just fucking caring. I was like, I can't even follow along. She's going so fast. I can't keep up with this, and I can't like keep going. What is like, and by the time that I was writing it down, trying to figure out what she was writing on there, she was already scrolling to the next little page on those stupid old things you had to like scroll through. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like eventually I was just like, I kept looking at my neighbors and I'm like, hey, what was that? What, like, and I told my mom this about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through that year. And I was like, Mom, I can't see the board anymore. She was like, what the fuck? Like, like, why did you fucking tell me this? And I'm like, I don't want to wear contact. I don't want to get glasses. That's what the nerds wear. And she was like, Chris, you have to you have to be able to see. So anyway, so I share all this to say I got a D in that class my freshman year, which if you didn't know this, but you probably didn't, because I'm going to guess you're a National Honor Society student. Uh, um, you if you get one D ever at any of your time during your high school year career, you are automatically disqualified from National Honor Society. I got one D in my entire high school career, and that was honors algebra my freshman year. Immediately disqualified from National Honor Society. Every other thing that I did for the entire time, it was irrelevant. I could never overcome it. And
I mean, that thing would have ruined your life, dude. You could have been like this like high power sales executive by now. It's like shit.
right,
You
yeah.
didn't.
I really
you
needed that algebra class.
Yeah. But
I
that's what I'm
I
saying. To me, it's like, no, National Honor Society is another scam to get you to do free work.
were, were, were you a National Honor Society?
Yes.
Okay, fuck
I
you.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah. Well, you
dumbass.
don't know how it feels to not be a
did
National Honor Society.
I didn't know that, but now I feel so stupid. It's like
Well,
I mean, to
actually,
me, they just gave you to do free work.
I know, right? What is the acceptance rate?
I think everybody accepted.
30 to 40% are admitted each year.
That's a lot.
20, I'm telling you, I had to have been the highest GPA of anybody that's
I
ever
mean,
not
I
gotten
didn't
it.
even apply for it. He said, "Hey, you qualify for National Society. Sign up here. All you have to do is, volunteer. Blah blah blah." It's like I didn't know that now then, but I don't know. It's a scam.
I would.
I mean, that to me, I've learned so much through my midlife crisis, where I'm like, a lot of things I see in the world, it isn't what it seems. Like I told you, like the golden rule, it's like it's not for you. It's for somebody to tell you what
Students
the
must
rules
have
are.
a minimum of a B, an 85. I had a 3.75 GPA. Like,
But you have a cumulative GPA of 3.75. Why don't you?
because I got a D in a class. Like
No.
it's that's one of the things is you can't
You
get a
lucked out,
D.
man.
Where
So
does
so
it
you,
say that?
so they never invited you to National Honor
Yeah,
Society?
I had to watch all of my friends that were also smart people getting their little National Honor Society thing when we were walking down, graduating or whatever.
I'm
And
telling
I'm
you, it's the
and
greatest
I'm the
scam
dipshit
ever.
that. But true, but I'm smart. Like, I'm kidding. Like like
I I feel so smart then. Now I feel so dumb.
it's just funny though, like, saying this stuff because like knowing what we've talked about now and what we've learned about what's the worst grade you can get is a C, right? Like it's I mean, I was even if I got a good grade in that algebra class, even if I could see the board, even if I could follow along, maybe I would have gotten like a C or a B, you know, like,
Mhm.
but that may have actually been the worst
That's
thing that
a
could have,
lot of
right.
anguish.
Right, exactly. Because actually, the other class that I ever got a D in college was stat, managerial stat accounting
Mhm.
class. And I fucking hated it. Hated every goddamn second of it. And I could see, I had my contacts in, and I tried my fucking hardest,
Your
and
brain
I,
just doesn't
my
want to
brain does
cooperate.
not fucking compute this shit for
You
some
go,
weird ass
yeah.
reason. It looks like I the best way I can describe it is when somebody starts talking math to me,
Mhm.
it's like Charlie Brown, like the wah wah wah
Wah,
wah
wah,
wah
wah,
wah
wah, wah,
wah
wah.
wah 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 wah, and they're like, do you understand? And I'm like,
No.
no, no, I don't. No, I don't know what you just said. That was a foreign language
But
to me.
the worst part is you say yes.
Right, yeah. No, I got it. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
You don't seem like you're an idiot. So you say, yeah, okay.
God, dude, you're bringing back like, I mean, PTSD, like, you know, of just failing. Like, who the fuck wants to fail? Like, you should just why don't they just let people, like, in college of all places, how in the fuck do they say you are required to take a bunch of garbage ass courses that you don't even care about when you're trying to study and learn about something that you do care about? You don't go to school voluntarily in college to learn about stuff that you don't want to fucking learn about. Like, I mean, I don't even understand, how did that become college? Like, like,
It's a scam. It's a scam
what? I
because
know, like, how is that even higher education? That doesn't make any sense.
it does not. I mean, they say you have to take this kind of elective, that kind of. It's like I'm in college.
Why?
I need to
Take what
hone
I
my
want to take.
skills in a
Right,
certain subject. Whatever it is I want to do. Let me
right.
take those classes. You can't even you can't even like select and choose the kind of class you want to take in college. That's how
No,
controlling societies are. I
it,
mean,
it, it makes
it
no
just
sense.
it doesn't.
I mean, like, do I use managerial accounting in my business? Like, I'm now a business owner of a business. Do I need to know managerial accounting? No, I don't. I'll hire a fucking accountant.
But that's the thing, everything that people think and everything that people rate you on is a bunch of scams. Somebody made up some IQ test, some to make up some GPA, whatever. GPA
Right.
to me is almost like the goal that you say, or
Oh, that's horrible.
somebody decide, hey, if you pass all these questions that I arbitrarily made up as a professor,
Right.
you are this smart or you are this
This
dumb.
part, yeah, yeah.
You think about how absurd that is.
It makes no your grade point average, your GPA, if you will, is actually, I have a 4.0 in all these subjects, and then I had a 1.0 in a 1.0 in algebra. Like, I have I'm really good at these, and I was kind of bad at this. That does not mean that I'm a good student. I was really, what it means is I was really good in these, and I was really bad in this. Like, like, that's it. Like, that's all that means. I don't understand what the GPA even fucking implies at that point in time. Now,
It
like,
doesn't. GPA is like I said, it's another scam. Just because, like, you think about it, my kids,
it makes
right?
no
I,
sense.
I have like $4, and in school, you have to take a physical education class, and part of physical education class is you have to run a mile in a
Right. Yeah.
certain
In a
minute.
certain time. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's like, how does that has anything to do with GPA? But that's part of the GPA.
And if your daughter doesn't like, running, like, and she gets an F in that class, and then she
She's a
gets an A in every
dumbass.
other class, she can't get into Harvard now. True, like, she can't get
Nope,
into
you
Harvard.
can't. You can't. Yeah, yeah,
Because
that's smart enough.
clearly, yeah, she's not spiky enough, and she might be the world's most most expert of, I don't know, the next future veterinary wizard of the world, but she
I
can't
mean,
run a mile, so
you think about it,
therefore she can't get into
a
Harvard.
person, right? A person, how many things they're good at and how many things they're not good at. So let's say there's 10 subjects, right? And they're good at one thing very well,
Right,
4.0, and they have like 1.0 in R9s.
they're an idiot.
So So then idiot by
Right.
based on the
No,
GPA.
they're not.
They're
They're really good
idiot.
at they're really good at this. They're
And they
really
don't give
good
a
at
shit about the
history.
other 9
They don't
ones.
give a shit
But,
about it. Like, so when you go to college, you should only study history, you know, like
but you
that. And that's
can't.
right.
But
Like,
you can't.
like,
Our university makes you
well,
take
no,
electives.
you get a major in history, and then but then you get to take a lot of classes that have nothing to do with history.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
you're taking like math, you're taking statistics, you're taking like I had to take like country western dancing.
are you kidding me? You had to take country western dancing?
Yeah, I had to, what else could I take? You know, because they make you take an elective, some kind of like an elective, and I had to
Oh
take
yeah.
2 years of it.
I took you took 2 years of country western dancing. Are you a good country western dancer?
No,
Okay.
I don't remember
But
anything.
holy
I
shit.
had two left foot.
I mean, I kind of actually liked electives because like I would choose electives that I actually liked, you know, like I chose
I mean,
oceanography
you would choose
and
elective,
art
right? You choose
appreciation, you know.
elective, art appreciation. I
Right.
choose algebra. I choose
Right,
calculus. I
right,
choose
right.
chemistry.
I
That's
would be like,
my
are you fucking
elective.
I know, right?
Why don't you let me choose what I want to take? Why
That's
do
a
you make
very good
me
point.
choose the electives of, like art appreciation is like I mean that art appreciation is to you like
It's
wah
fun.
to me.
Yeah, I actually really liked that class. That was a lot of fun. Like oceanography was one of my
I
favorite
remember
electives I ever took, you
in
know?
high school I took art history AP. Oh
Right.
my goodness, that is so much PTSD for me. It's like
I love that
it's
class.
like
Like
what the hell? Why do I need to know all these different like painting techniques and like different like ages of different art and surrealism and it's like who cares? I don't care. I'm looking at a Picasso. It's like okay, how does it make you feel? It's like nothing. I don't see anything. And like, oh, how about Salvador Dali? It's like, I don't get it. It's just
yeah, it's
melting washes.
melting clock. Yeah.
It's like
Well,
I
cool. Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
I have no
No, that's
interest
funny.
in it. And it's like to me, it's like that's the I mean, basically is I had a lot of memories of art history, AP art history, but it's all like
Bad.
bad memories. Like
Right, right.
brings back a lot of nightmares.
So I'm a very creative, imaginative person, right? You know, so like being able to just, you know, drift off into like art appreciation or something like that and learning how they have their whatever about their lives and stuff like that is fun for me, right?
But
Like
that's the
I
thing is
enjoy the shit
it's
out of
not
it, you
up to
know?
you though.
Right.
It's up
Right.
to your brain.
I know, right?
It's up to
This
your
is the point.
brain. Because the thing
This
is,
is what
I
we're saying.
try,
It's like,
I pin my eyes open and I'm
right.
looking at it and my eyes go like this to get those off.
Dude, this
I
is
mean,
how I used to feel in math. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like I would get so exhausted, like just trying to think
your eyes
trying
get
to keep up.
tired.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I literally would be like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, and I would just like look down. I would just be like, I'm so tired. I'm so like, I'm with you. I mean, I used to get so I used to be tired before I walked into the fucking class. I was like,
Yes.
oh no, not again in this fucking thing. Like, I mean, I got to sit here and listen to this motherfucking asshole up there drone on about, you know, whatever probability and stat and like blah blah blah. And I'm like, when the fuck? I just staring at the clock the whole entire time. Like, when the fuck is this goddamn class gonna be over? And when can I immediately go over to one of my fraternity brothers' rooms and cheat? You know, on the homework that I need to cheat. You know, like I'm like, the first text as soon as I get back into the house is gonna be, hey, Cieslak, can you give me your fucking homework? You know, for whatever, because I don't know how to fucking do this. Like, you know, like that's how I survived, you know, all those stat classes, managerial, like accounting classes. Like I was like, I can't do this, man. I can't do this. And I shit you not, there was this kid, Chasing Bubbles. Did I ever tell you about the Chasing Bubbles guy?
No, I don't
Oh my
think.
God, you have to watch this, by the way. This is unreal. All right, so Chasing Bubbles is a documentary about Alex Rust, this guy you see in this beard right here.
Mhm.
Here, I'll just show you.
That guy.
No, not that guy. All right, so let's fast forward through here. Okay, so this is Alex. Hang on. So this is Alex Rust, right? This guy lived on my dorm at Purdue University, right? He's from He's from Seymour, Indiana, and which is like southern Indiana, near like Kentucky-ish, like southern Indiana,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And his dad owns what's it called? Rose Acre Farms. It's like a massive egg producing farm, right? Like they produce like just shitloads of fucking eggs, right? Like they're
Hmm.
they're like Eggland's best, they're
Right,
like
right.
a yeah, anyway. So his dad he comes from a very wealthy family. He's one of the most interesting dudes. This guy is like one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire fucking life. I mean, like he's just brilliant fucking guy, especially in math, right? And
Hmm.
he was in he I I think he like double majored in like engineering of like mechanical engineering and like got his MBA as well or some bullshit like that while we were at Purdue like together. Like the guy's just fucking genius level stuff, right? He graduates from Purdue. I hung out with him pretty regularly when we were at Purdue. Like he's like a former like jock dude, but he's supposed to be like super smart guy, right? But he's
Hmm.
also like the biggest dipshit you will ever meet in your life, like in terms of he's like the life of the party guy. As soon as he walks into the room, it's like, yo, it's Alex. Oh my god, beers, chugs, like doing the dumbest things you could ever imagine, ever. Like the guy is crazy, right? The guy is like he is fucking nuts, but it's in a good way. Like, like if Alex Rust entered into a room, it was going to be the best night of your life, kind of thing. And it was remarkable. Like, I mean, and any like the guy was just next level entertainment, like just always to a 10, like it was unreal, right? So Alex graduates from Purdue. He moves up to Chicago for he's working on the Chicago Stock Exchange or something like that. He's up there for like 2 years. I didn't see him anymore because like we weren't like super close, but we were like close enough. We'd hung out like mutual
Hmm.
acquaintances, whatever. But like I wasn't like I was going to Chicago to go visit Alex or something like that all the time or whatever. So I kind of lost touch of his whole entire little journey that had going on. Well, turns out he made a decent amount of money in a couple of years while he was working on the stock exchange. Hated every minute of it, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to take this money. I'm going to go buy a boat. He's like, I've never sailed before. I don't know anything about it, but he was like, I'm gonna go buy this boat. He buys this boat. He calls it Bubbles. The boat is like this shitty little boat that he finds down in like Florida or whatever. He fixes it up and he and
Hmm.
he decides I'm gonna go sail around the Caribbean for like the summer and see if I can figure out how to sail around the Caribbean. He's like, I've never really done it, but I'll figure it out, right? So he sails around the Caribbean in his little boat called Bubbles, right? And then he comes back and he goes, I'm gonna go do it myself. Sorry. He goes, I'm gonna go sail around the world. And people are like, are you kidding me? Like, are you gonna sail around the world? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go sail around the world. So this documentary is about Alex Russ sailing around the world, right? Anyway, I'm sharing all this to say that there's a moral of the story. So Alex is actually deceased. Alex made it around the world. He made it
Hmm.
all the way around the world. He gets back home. He goes to Seymour, Indiana, and he gets really restless. He's been home for like 6 to 8 months, whatever. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Alex is a hero!" Like they made this documentary. It's like this. It's a really great. It's got 2.4 million views. Yeah, I mean, this
Hmm.
thing is. It's an awesome documentary about him going to different places all over the world, seeing different people. People would come and just hop onto his boat, and they would go cruise around with him for like a month or whatever, and then he would let them off at the next port and like then they would keep going. He just did all this by himself, right? With just friends popping in, popping out, like and surviving and chasing bubbles around the world, right? So he gets home, he's restless, he's people are he's going back to the same stupid like little parties in the woods with his friends, and whatever. And he's like, life's boring. He's like, I've seen all this stuff around the world. And he's like, I want to get back out there. So he decides to go to India. And he moves to India to help like little kids or something like that, and like a fucking I don't even know, like a sick place or whatever, like a Calcutta or something like that. Anyway,
Hmm.
he gets fucking typhoid fever. No joke, like Oregon Trail style, like typhoid fever,
Hmm.
and fucking dies. In India, right?
Hmm.
And we were like 25 years old, and maybe 26. I can't remember exactly when he passed away. So moral of the story is Alex and I sat next to each other in managerial accounting class, and I sat there and fucking watched him just like every day next to me, just like I don't think he ever got less than like a 100 out of 100 on every single goddamn test that we ever took. And I'm like, Alex, what the fuck are you do? How do you do this? And he's like, I don't know. I just It's just fucking effortless for me. But like
Mm.
it blew my mind watching this unfold, right? Like this guy is one of the best people you'll ever meet in your life, one of the most interesting people, like, you know, but talk about living for like talk about living your life, you know. I mean, like yeah, anyway, all right. This is the whole chasing bubbles conversation. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's interesting, and it's also, it's relevant to what we're talking about. Is, there's certain way you live your life, right? And I think a lot of time, when you have a certain talent, and to, like, if you give somebody a sword or a gun, right? If you use it wrong, well, it's gonna be devastating. If you use it right, it's gonna be good. It's a
Yep.
force of good or force of, of evil, depending on how you use it. A lot of times people with the talent, like you say, hey, you're impressive, but did you
What'd you do with it?
do
Yeah,
what you do with
right,
it, right?
right.
It's that's what counts. And a lot,
It
and
is.
I mean, you think about it, he is smart in some ways, but he wasn't smart in every way. And so
No,
this is why, he's like, well, I mean, I don't know if what he's the life that he lived, it is what he wanted. It is maybe some sort of like a social expectations of him, Alex is a life the party, so he had to
yeah.
keep up this array. Maybe he didn't like it. Or maybe
I've wondered that honestly,
he
a lot.
had like he had lived out, his dosage of life of the party. I mean, he wants some
Right.
time, he wants some peace and quiet. And for me, I want peace and quiet. I don't want to chase this putting a dent in the universe anymore. Because
Right.
you're talking about like, hey, True, can you be a leader and do this? No, no, thank you. You do you. I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna
Right.
do whatever I
Just
want.
want to be a
I,
Mexican
I
fisherman, you know?
I
Yeah.
don't want I don't
Uh,
want it. And that's the
right.
thing is, remember like there was one reflection that we're talking about, uh what's his name? Forgot. But people, he did one movie or whatever, and everybody expects him to behave in
Oh,
that same
Kevin Smith.
mannerism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith. Yeah. Yeah.
And he couldn't get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You get
He,
stuck in your own bullshit, you know, and you're like, oh God, like I don't want to be this person. Like, you know, or I want to be that person. You guys are asking me to do, you want this, like, okay, that's a great example, right? Yomo is a phase, right? Like, you know, and that's okay. Like living for two is not, right? Like we're gonna go on to other adventures, and we're already we're on our next adventure already with this pickleball thing, and you and I are gonna go on our next adventures, and you know, we're gonna figure out other new things to do together, right? Yomo is a phase of life. It is not who we are. If you said to go back and do Yomo again, you know, in 10 years from now, we're gonna go, no, I can't do Yomo
that's
again. I
Yomo
can't.
is
Like
Yomo.
it's Yomo is Yomo. It's over. Like it's done. Like it is what this is the last episode, you know, of the original 365 journey. Now it might morph into something else. We might continue to do other things just because we like it or whatever. But nothing will ever this journey. I mean, like it is it is almost unfathomable to try to describe to anybody in words of what we've been on through this whole entire experience. This is our 365th episode of a fucking, you know, just staring at a computer screen and talking about an idea, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, like it's almost mind-blowing, you know, to think like what we've all done. But to your point, like the whole Kevin Smith, you get trapped into it where they're like, you know, do clerks, and you're like, I can't do clerks anymore.
I
Like
don't want
clerks,
to.
I don't want to do that anymore. Like this is like we did Yomo. Like it's done. It's over. It's I
Yeah.
mean it like you know whatever else do we do next, right? Like this is the way that I, you know, if you remember back at the end of the I Can't Imagine book, when I talked about the city that, you know, that I always think of the envision the city, right? You know, with Amelia Tower, right? And we built a great, you know, awesome, you know, Clubany complex, and then we also have this amazing Yomo, you know, I don't know, maybe it's an arena or something like that.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter what it is, right? And then we have the pickleball, you know, venue like sports complex or something like that, you know, or like the city keeps building, right? You don't just stop and say, hey, you know, this is the one tower that we built. It's a pretty beautiful tower, but like there's nothing else going on around here. Like the city doesn't stop, man. It keeps going. Like and like that's there. Enjoy it. View the building. Use it for what it's used for. But like I'm not gonna build that building again. It's built. Like it's done. Like
Yeah, it
it's
gotta
you
be
know
something else.
Right, build something else, right? Like, and that's how life works, right? Like you can't always be, who other people want you to be. Like you got to be who you are in this moment and follow your values and let those dictate the road. I mean, that's it. Like that's the compass.
Yeah, well said.
I think that's a good way to end this. What do you think?
Yes. So before we end it, I want to mention to you something that I've been meaning to, but I didn't have a chance. But every single time that my kids hear me on this podcast, right, I keep saying Yomo, year of magical learning.
Right. Right.
They keep correct me, say it's year of magical living.
Ah.
And I thought I shared that with you. I think it's appropriate.
I like that. Maybe that's phase two of this,
Yeah.
because you're right. Now it's eventually got to turn learning into living, right? And
I mean that's what matters.
yeah,
Because
I agree.
learning is nothing. It's useless unless you can apply it to your
Bring it to
life.
life. Yeah, bring it to life. I like that a lot, man. Well,
Yeah.
your daughters are very smart, so that's also that's a great way to end it. You know what? We both have amazingly talented daughters, and
Yeah.
that's
So you know how you start out your book, I can't imagine, and then at the end of the book you say you can imagine.
yep.
So at the beginning of Oyomo, it's a year of magical learning. At the end of the journey, it becomes a year of magical living.
I love it. That's fantastic. All right. All right. Now that's officially it. No more talking. We're cutting the recording off right now because like that's a great way to end this whole thing. Well, thank you all for joining us. This is a really long reflection. God, this is like that's
Yeah.
like it's like 4 pages or something. I did have a PS at the end of this. So Amelia officially was later dressed in the cemetery on August 26th of 2020. I wrote this final reflection on April 26th of 2020. I wrote this final reflection on April 27th of 2023.
Mhm.
So even though I missed the original deadline of that I'd self-imposed of April 22nd, I don't know. Stuff always happens for a reason, and another good lesson from this whole journey of don't forget to look at the castle while you're trying to hold the spoon, right? Things happen where they happen, right? And it is what it is, So I love that your magical living starts now, and we
Yes.
will keep you all informed as we go. So thank you all for joining. And what kind of life do you wish to imagine? Now go live it. There you go.
Yep. Stay tuned for our next chapter.
Love it, man. All
All
right.
right.
See
See ya.
y'all.